I bought my dream mansion after everyone abandoned me. Now my brother, ex-husband, and in-laws are furious I refused to let them move in and called security. Hi friends. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and share where you're watching from in the comments. Now let's go back to the story. The champagne cork popped just as my phone started buzzing. Standing in my new marble foyer, I stared at the crystal chandelier above, the one I'd dreamed about for 15 years. My 8-year-old daughter Lillian squealed, running through rooms that echoed with possibility. This 6-bedroom mansion with its wraparound porch and lake view was mine. All mine. Paid in full. My phone wouldn't stop. 12 missed calls. All from people who hadn't spoken to me in 3 years. Mama, this is really ours? Lillian's brown eyes sparkled with tears. She remembered the 1-bedroom apartment we'd shared after the divorce, where she slept on a pull-out sofa while I took the floor some nights. Every single inch, baby girl. Then I saw the text from my brother Luke. Heard about your new place. We need to talk. Family emergency. My stomach dropped. The same brother who told me I was embarrassing the family when I started my cleaning business from nothing. Who sided with my ex-husband Dylan during the divorce, saying I was too ambitious and forgot my place. Who didn't come to Lillian's birthday for 3 consecutive years. I deleted the message and poured sparkling cider for Lillian. We had ghosts to toast to, the ghost of who I used to be, the woman who believed family meant something. That woman died in a studio apartment, crying over unpaid bills while her daughter pretended not to hear. If you're enjoying this story, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. You won't believe what happens next. 3 years ago I was someone else entirely. Married to Dylan for 10 years, living in his mother's basement with our 5-year-old daughter. I worked 2 jobs, overnight janitorial at an office building and weekend retail, while Dylan pursued his music career, which meant drinking with his boys and recording tracks that never went anywhere. His mother, Patricia, made sure I knew my place. You should be grateful Dylan married you, she'd say, watching me scrub her kitchen floor after my night shift. Dark-skinned girl like you with a child? He gave you respectability. I swallowed those words like poison every single day. My own family wasn't much better. Mama died when I was 19 and Daddy followed 2 years later. That left me with Luke, my older brother who I'd idolized growing up. But Luke married Vanessa, a woman who saw me as competition for family resources that didn't exist. The breaking point came on Lillian's 5th birthday. I'd saved for months to throw her a small party at the community center. 20 kids, homemade cake, decorations I'd stayed up all night making. Dylan promised he'd be there. He showed up 3 hours late, drunk with his boys. They knocked over the cake table. Lillian cried. The other parents whispered. Patricia blamed me for embarrassing her son in public. That night, Dylan hit me for the first time. Not the last time, but the first. His mother heard Lillian screaming, came downstairs and told me, you must have provoked him. Learn to keep quiet. Luke knew. I called him, bleeding from my lip, begging for help. You probably did provoke him, he said. Dylan's a good man. Don't tear this family apart with your drama. I hung up and stared at my daughter's sleeping face. That was the night everything changed. I left Dylan's mother's house with 2 garbage bags of clothes, Lillian's stuffed rabbit, and $300 I'd hidden in my bra. The women's shelter took us in that night. Lillian was so quiet, too quiet for a 5-year-old. She'd stopped asking questions, stopped crying. That scared me more than anything. Mama, are we safe now? She whispered that first night, clutching Mr. Hops, her rabbit. We're safe, baby. I promise. Mama's going to make everything okay. I didn't know how I'd keep that promise, but I'd die trying. The shelter counselor, Miss Diane, became my first real friend. She was a 60-year-old black woman who'd survived her own hell and came out the other side shining. You got fire in you, child, she'd say. Don't let these people take that from you. She helped me file for divorce. Dylan didn't even show up to court. Patricia sent her lawyer instead, fighting me for full custody, calling me an unfit mother who abandoned her marriage. I represented myself, hands shaking, voice breaking, telling the judge about the bruises, the basement, the fear. The judge, a black woman in her 50s, looked at Patricia's lawyer and said, "Not in my courtroom." She granted me full custody, minimal child support, and warned Dylan that one more incident would land him in jail. I walked out of that courthouse holding Lillian's hand, tears streaming down my face. Patricia screamed at me in the parking lot. "You'll never amount to nothing. You hear me? You'll come crawling back." Luke stood beside her, silent, watching. That silence cut deeper than any of Patricia's words. Comment below if you've ever had to rebuild your life from scratch. Your story matters. The shelter had a 6-month limit. I found a studio apartment in a rough neighborhood, but it was ours. Rent was $800 a month. More than half my income. I started my cleaning business with a bucket, some supplies from the dollar store, and business cards I printed at the library. My first client was Mr. Miller, who owned a small restaurant. "You do good job, I tell my friends," he said. I cleaned his restaurant so thoroughly that it sparkled. He kept his word. Within 3 months, I had 5 regular clients. Within 6 months, I had 12. I cleaned houses during the day while Lillian was in school, offices at night when she slept. My hands bled from the chemicals. My back screamed from scrubbing floors. But every night I counted my money and added it to the coffee can labeled, "Our Future." Lillian never complained. She'd do her homework at clients' houses, sitting quietly in corners, helping me sometimes by holding trash bags or organizing supplies. "Mama works so hard," she'd tell people. That pride in her voice kept me going on days I wanted to quit. Year 2, I hired my first employee, Carmen, another single mother from the shelter. Then Rosa. Then Patricia. Not Dylan's mother, different Patricia, and we laughed about the irony. By year 3, I had a crew of 8 women, all survivors, all fighters. I named my company Phoenix Rising Cleaning Services. We specialized in deep cleaning and restoration. Our logo was a phoenix with a mop instead of a branch in its claws. My employees loved it. During those 3 years, my phone stayed silent. No birthday calls for Lillian. No Christmas cards. No, "How are you doing?" Dylan's child support checks came sporadically, always late, always short. I stopped expecting them. Luke unfriended me on social media. I saw photos of him and Vanessa at family gatherings I wasn't invited to. I learned to be okay with being alone. By year 4, Phoenix Rising was making serious money. We had corporate contracts, residential contracts, and a reputation for excellence. I'd saved nearly $80,000. Living minimally, driving an old Honda, buying clothes from thrift stores. Lillian wore hand-me-downs proudly because she understood we were building something. Then Mrs. Richardson walked into my life. She was a 78-year-old white woman with more money than sense and a 14-bedroom mansion she wanted cleaned weekly. "Everyone I've hired steals from me or does shoddy work," she complained during our first meeting. "My friend recommended you. Don't disappoint me." I didn't. For 6 months, my crew and I made her mansion immaculate. She'd leave $100 tips and home-cooked meals. She'd ask about Lillian, remembering details about her school projects and favorite books. One day, she called me into her library. "Sit down, dear. I want to discuss something." My heart raced. Was she firing me? "I'm dying," she said matter-of-factly. "Cancer. Don't look so stricken, I've had a good life. But I've been watching you. You're smart. You're hardworking. You remind me of myself at your age." She pulled out papers. "I'm investing in your business. $200,000. I want 40% ownership and I want you to expand. Hire more women. Buy property. Build something real." "Ist der hier, spitzlich?" "Mrs. Richardson, I can't." "Yes, you can. I've already had my lawyers draw up the papers. My only condition is that you maintain the mission. Hiring women who need second chances. Can you do that?" I cried right there in her library. Big, ugly tears. "Yes, ma'am. I promise." Share this with someone who needs to hear that miracles still happen. With Mrs. Richardson's investment, Phoenix Rising exploded. I bought 3 company vans, hired 20 more employees, and secured a small office space. We expanded into property management, home organization, and estate services. My employees got benefits, fair wages, and respect, something they'd never experienced before. Mrs. Richardson passed away 10 months later, surrounded by family. In her will, she left me her shares of the company back in a letter. "Build your empire, Phoenix. Show them what underestimated women can do." I framed that letter in my office. By year 6, I was clearing $400,000 annually. I invested in real estate, buying distressed properties, fixing them up, renting them out. Lillian, now 8, was thriving in a good school. We'd moved from the studio to a small 2-bedroom house. She had her own room, painted purple, filled with books. But I wanted more. Not for me, for her. I wanted her to have what I never did. Security, space, peace. So when I saw the mansion on the hill overlooking the lake, the one that had been abandoned for years, I knew. It needed work. Massive work. But I saw past the broken windows and overgrown gardens. I saw my daughter running through those rooms. I saw holiday dinners in that massive dining room. I saw peace. The asking price was $800,000. I offered $600,000 cash, contingent on inspection. The bank that owned it accepted immediately. For 8 months, my crew and I transformed that mansion. We ripped out carpet, refinished hardwood floors, updated plumbing and electrical, painted every wall and landscaped 5 acres. I poured $200,000 into renovations. When we finished, it was worth $1.5 million. And it was mine. Completely paid for. No mortgage. No debt. Just the keys to a dream I'd been told I'd never achieve. Lillian cried when she saw her new bedroom. It had a reading nook, a window seat, and enough space for all her books. Mama, did we really do this? Yes, baby. We really did. The local paper ran a feature. Local businesswoman transforms historic mansion. They interviewed me, took pictures, talked about my journey from shelter to success. The article went viral on social media. Suddenly, everyone knew. That's when my phone started ringing. First was Vanessa, Luke's wife. Girl, we need to catch up. It's been too long. Luke misses you so much. We should have dinner at your new place. I stared at the phone, remembering how she told people at Daddy's funeral that I'd always been jealous of her relationship with Luke. Then Patricia, my ex-mother-in-law. I've been thinking about you and my grandbaby. We should let bygones be bygones. Family is family. Dylan's been asking about you. The same Patricia who'd watched her son hit me and called me a liar. Delete. Dylan himself sent a message. Congratulations on your success. I always knew you had it in you. Lillian needs her father in her life. Can we talk about reconciliation? I've changed. The same man who gave me a black eye on our daughter's birthday. Delete. Even distant cousins I hadn't heard from in decades suddenly wanted to reconnect. They'd seen the article. They'd heard about the mansion. They smelled opportunity. I blocked every single number. But Luke was persistent. He showed up at my office 3 days after the article ran. He looked older, tired. His clothes were wrinkled and he'd gained weight. We need to talk, sis. Family to family. I stood up from my desk, my heart pounding. You lost the right to call me sis 3 years ago. Get out of my office. Don't be like that. I know things got heated, but we're blood. That means something. Blood means nothing when it's not backed by loyalty. You chose. Now live with your choice. Security. He left, but not before saying, you'll regret this. Family always comes back to family. Let me know in the comments if you've dealt with family who only shows up when you're successful. 2 weeks after Luke's visit, I came home to find 3 U-Haul trucks parked in my driveway. My brand new security system was beeping. Someone had tried to bypass it. Lillian was at a friend's house, thank God. I grabbed my phone and called the police, then walked around to my front door. It was open. Someone had broken in. My blood went cold. Inside, I heard voices, familiar voices that made my skin crawl. This bedroom's mine, Vanessa announced from upstairs. It has the best view. Mom should get the main floor bedroom, Dylan's voice echoed. You know her knees are bad. I stormed inside and there they were. Luke, Vanessa, Dylan, Patricia, and 2 of Dylan's brothers, Dennis and Kyle, all walking through my house like they owned it. Furniture was stacked in the foyer. Boxes everywhere. What the hell are you doing in my house? My voice was eerily calm despite the rage burning through my veins. Luke turned, smiling. There she is. We decided to surprise you. Family should stick together, right? This house is way too big for just you and Lillian. We're moving in. I couldn't breathe. Moving in? You broke into my house. Patricia stepped forward, hands on her hips. Don't be dramatic. Luke used the key you gave him years ago. I never gave him a key to this house. I changed all my locks. Well, we made copies from your office. Details. Vanessa waved her hand dismissively. The important thing is we're all together now. One big happy family. Dylan approached me and I instinctively stepped back. He noticed and actually looked hurt. Baby, I know we had problems, but look at what you've built. Imagine what we could do together. Lillian needs her daddy. I've been clean for 6 months. We could be a family again. Get out. Each word was ice. Don't be selfish, Dennis chimed in. You got all this space and Luke been struggling. His business went under. They about to lose they house. Dylan been living with mama and she's sick. We family. We stick together in hard times. My hands shook. Where were you when I was living in a shelter? Where were you when Lillian slept on a pull-out sofa? Where were you when I was scrubbing floors 17 hours a day? Silence. That was different, Luke finally said. You made your choices. You left Dylan. You started all that drama. He hit me. I screamed. The words echoed through my beautiful foyer. He hit me in front of our daughter and you told me I deserved it. Every single person in this house abandoned me when I needed help. Now you break into my home and think you can just move in. Patricia stepped forward, her face twisted with anger. You always were ungrateful. We took you in when you had nothing. You charged me rent to sleep in a basement. I worked 2 jobs and paid you $700 a month to live in your dungeon while your son drank away every dollar he earned. That's why you need us now, Vanessa interrupted, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. You're bitter. You're angry. You're raising Lillian to hate her family. This isn't healthy. We're here to help you heal. To be a real family again. Something inside me snapped. 3 years of silence, of rebuilding, of choosing myself. All of it crystallized into perfect clarity. I pulled out my phone and played a recording. My security system didn't just beep. It recorded. Their entire conversation played back. Discussing which rooms to take, how they'd convince me this was best, Vanessa saying, she owes us. We're family. She has to help us. Their faces went pale. I recorded everything from the moment you broke in. Breaking and entering. Trespassing. Conspiracy. I've already called the police. They're on their way. You wouldn't, Luke whispered. You have 10 minutes to get every box, every piece of furniture, and your entitled asses off my property. If you're still here when the police arrive, I'm pressing charges. All of you. Dylan stepped toward me, hands raised. Baby, please. Think about Lillian. Think about family. Don't you dare use my daughter's name. You haven't sent child support in 4 months. You missed her last birthday. You are not her family. You're a ghost who shows up when he smells money. The police sirens wailed in the distance. Perfect timing. If this story is resonating with you, please like and subscribe. We're just getting started. Officer Martinez and Officer Johnson arrived within minutes. I showed them the security footage, the broken window they'd used to enter, the damage to my front door lock. The officers' faces hardened as they watched. Ma'am, do you want to press charges? Officer Martinez asked. Luke panicked. It's a family misunderstanding. We didn't break in, we're family. You forced entry into a private residence, Officer Johnson said flatly. That's breaking and entering. The recording shows premeditation. I looked at each of them. These people who'd watched me suffer and did nothing. Who'd called me dramatic, ungrateful, bitter. Who'd chosen their comfort over my safety. Yes, I said. I want to press charges against all 6 of them. Vanessa gasped. You're really going to send your own brother to jail? My brother died 3 years ago. I don't know who you are. They were arrested right there in my foyer. Handcuffs and all. Patricia screamed about how I'd regret this. Dylan cried, begging me to think about Lillian. Luke just stared at me with something like disbelief. As they were led to police cars, neighbors watched. My new neighbors, the ones who'd welcomed me to the community, who'd brought flowers and cookies when I moved in. Mrs. Jones from 3 houses down called out, You okay, honey? I'm okay now, I called back. After they left, I sat on my front steps and cried. Not sad tears, released tears. Lillian's friend's mother dropped her off an hour later. She ran to me and I held her tight. Mama, why are you crying? Because some fights are finally over, baby girl. Come on. Let me show you something. I took her to the basement, my favorite room in the house. I'd transformed it into a tribute to our journey. Photos from the shelter, my first business card, Mrs. Richardson's letter, keys to properties I owned. A timeline of every obstacle we'd overcome. This is who we are, I told her. Survivors. Builders. Phoenix rising. She hugged me tight. I'm proud of us, Mama. Me too, baby. Me too. The arrest made local news. Wealthy family members arrested for breaking into entrepreneur's home, read the headline. The comments section exploded. Most people supported me. Some called me cold and heartless. I didn't care anymore. Luke's lawyer called trying to negotiate. Drop the charges and they'll leave you alone. Otherwise, this goes to trial and family business becomes public. It's already public. See you in court. The trial was set for 6 months out. In the meantime, restraining orders kept them all at least 500 feet away from my house, my business, and Lillian's school. Life settled into a beautiful rhythm. Lillian joined the swim team. I hired a chef who taught us to cook gourmet meals. We hosted dinner parties for my employees, women who'd become my real family. We laughed in rooms that had only known silence. We healed in spaces built on our own sweat. Then Mrs. Richardson's daughter, Elizabeth, reached out. We'd met briefly at the funeral, but she'd been grieving and we hadn't connected. My mother left you something, she said over coffee. Beyond the business shares. She left you this. She handed me a journal, Mrs. Richardson's personal diary from her 20s. The first entry made me cry. Today I left my husband. He hit me for burning dinner. I have $50 and nowhere to go, but I'd rather die free than live in fear. She'd survived too. She'd built her wealth from nothing after escaping abuse. Every page was a roadmap of resilience. She saw herself in you, Elizabeth said. She wanted you to know you're not alone. You're part of a legacy of women who refused to break. I clutched that journal like a lifeline. Thank you. This means everything. There's more. She left you a trust for Lillian's education. Full ride to any college she wants. And she left instructions for me to tell you this. Don't let them back in. People who abandon you in darkness don't deserve your light. I sobbed right there in the coffee shop. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the next chapter will blow your mind. The courtroom was packed. Apparently, our case had become a social media sensation. The successful black woman versus her family who'd abandoned her then tried to exploit her. People had opinions. Lots of them. Luke's defense was predictable. She's family-obsessed and vindictive. This is retaliation for old family disputes. We were invited over and there was a misunderstanding. My lawyer, a sharp black woman named Tiana Brooks, destroyed that narrative. She presented the security footage showing them breaking in, discussing how to manipulate me, dividing up rooms without my permission. She presented text messages where Luke had said I was embarrassing the family with my business. She presented hospital records from when Dylan hit me. Then she called Lillian to the stand. My baby girl, 9 years old now, wore her best dress and spoke clearly. They were never there, she testified. When Mama and I lived in one room, nobody called. Nobody visited. Nobody helped. Mama worked every day and every night to take care of me. Those people aren't my family. My family is Mama, Miss Carmen, Miss Rosa, Miss Diane, and the ladies who love us. Real family doesn't just show up when you have something they want. I cried. The jury cried. Even the judge wiped her eyes. The verdict came back in 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Breaking and entering, criminal trespassing, conspiracy. Luke got 18 months probation and a $10,000 fine. Dylan got the same plus mandatory anger management. Patricia, Vanessa, Dennis, and Kyle got probation and restraining orders. You are to have no contact with the plaintiff or her daughter for 5 years, the judge ordered. If you violate this order, you will serve jail time. This court finds your actions reprehensible. You exploited familial relationships for personal gain and showed no remorse. Court dismissed. Outside, reporters swarmed. I gave one statement. Family is not an obligation. It's earned through love, support, and showing up, especially in hard times. I hope my story reminds people that setting boundaries isn't cruel. It's survival. And you don't owe people access to your peace just because you share DNA. The clip went viral. I gained 200,000 followers overnight. My business exploded with supportive clients. Lillian and I went home, ordered pizza, and watched movies in our pajamas. 6 months after the trial, I received a letter. Luke's handwriting. Against my better judgment, I opened it. I've had time to think. To really think. You were right about everything. I was jealous. When Dad died, he left you his toolbox, the only thing of value he had. He said you had his work ethic, his determination. I resented you for that. When you married Dylan, I thought you'd fail. When you left him, I thought you'd come crawling back. When you succeeded, I couldn't stand it. I wanted what you built, but I never wanted to do the work. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything now. I know I can't undo abandoning you when you needed me most. But I need you to know I see you now. I see how strong you are. How you protected Lillian. How you built an empire with bleeding hands and a broken heart. You deserved better than me. Than all of us. I hope you find the family you deserve. Love, the brother who failed you. I folded the letter and placed it in a box labeled Closed Chapters. That night I stood on my balcony overlooking the lake. Lillian was asleep in her room, safe and loved. My business was thriving. My employees were family. My life was mine. But something felt incomplete. I realized then, some wounds never fully heal. They scar. They remind you of battles fought and survived. Luke's apology didn't erase 3 years of silence. Dylan's absence didn't erase his violence. Their regret didn't rebuild what they'd destroyed. I cried for the family I'd wanted. The brother who should have protected me. The husband who should have loved me. The in-laws who should have stood up for me. I grieved the relationships that could have been if they'd chosen differently. Then I let it go. Lillian found me on the balcony. "Mama, you okay?" I pulled her close. "I am, baby. I really am. Do you ever miss them?" I thought carefully. I miss who I thought they were. But I don't miss who they actually are. Does that make sense? Yeah. I think so. We stood there together watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. My daughter, my empire, my peace, all built from ashes. The truth is bittersweet, I'd won. I had everything I'd dreamed of. But victory tasted like loss too. Loss of the family I'd imagined, loss of the innocence that believed blood meant loyalty. Some stories don't have happy endings. They have real ones. And real means living with the ache of what could have been while embracing what actually is. I am Phoenix Rising. And I am enough. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and share your own story in the comments. Remember, you are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Your peace is not selfish. Your boundaries are not cruel. And the family you choose can be more powerful than the family you're born into. You are worthy of love that doesn't cost you your soul. Stay strong, stay blessed, and remember, you are enough exactly as you are.